We will not support the MK motion because we don't think, like I said, doesn't make sense. They are well entitled to make those positions about this or that, but where they are right, we'll support them. But we don't think that is the way to go. If they meant business, they should put motion of no confidence against the president. Then there we know we've got the role to play. And to actually put this matter to rest, any motion of no confidence put against the ANC president will support it. Because he has put us into this mess. He's the man responsible for every mess we are experiencing today. And therefore, we are not yet there as the EFF to a point where we think we can put a motion of no confidence because we're still working the ground. You don't want to do some not well canvassed work in Parliament. You have to go around, seek consensus and all of that. Their fight with the DA is also strategic. Treasury is reactionary, and Treasury is still captured by apartheid apologists and apartheid beneficiaries. You know, there's something you don't know, that when Zuma removed Pravin Gordhan, the Treasury senior staff came together and said, let's resign and leave with the pin. Those people have got a pin to Pesal. The DG of Treasury then didn't have a pin of Pesal. So without Pesal, you can't pay salaries of the workers. That's when they wanted to collapse the state. That's how prepared they were to collapse the state in favor of an individual, which is treasonous. I mean, if you start disappearing with the pin that pays salaries and then those things that pay the tenders and this and that, service providers. And they are, I forgot the name, and there used to be an Afrikaner woman. There is the one who's got a personal pin. Her and her alone has got that access to the thing. So she can disappear. We're gone, we're finished. For sure it is in her will. Or if she dies, the pin must be given to so and so. So I think one of the things we need to do is to take the budgeting process away from Treasury, maybe into presidency or any form of those things, where we say, this is what we want, this is what we're budgeting for and all of that. And then they must pay. Because if you take the whole program of action of the EFF and say, this is our program, this is how much we're going to spend on this program and all of that, you take all of that responsibility, you give it to a TG, you won't get a cent out of it. So you're going to look at that thing and say, there's no money. No, there's no money. So the people who are tasked to pay are very difficult people to pay. They don't just pay. So those things, I think they need to be run separately so that once we're done, we give them. There must be a political mandate that says, here are the things that you must finance. And then no one can question us about that because we've got a lawful mandate. If the law doesn't allow us, we'll amend the law to make sure that it meets this requirement, because this country is being held back by Treasury. Yeah, it's being held back. And everybody is very scared of that Treasury. Very scared of that Treasury. So we can't have that to a point where the ANC admit that they have no control over Treasury for the past 31 years. Because we're told this thing of budgeting was done differently before 1994. It started being operated like this after 1994. Why? They knew that they must capture the Treasury. Even if these ones capture the political power, they must still go through us. So we need to liberate and transform that Treasury. You know, they must not just speak loosely. You know, things are not working. Eh? You don't just speak like you have power, from devil to fire, whatever. They are going to pass a motion of no confidence there in Parliament. What is Gwede going to do? He's going to go to fire. That fire will not be fire because you now want it to support you in defense of the president. It will be water now. It will be water, drinkable water. He must not just speak. He doesn't have numbers. There's going to be a motion of no confidence in Parliament against the president. And I can tell you, they are going to come to us running the same way they came to us running on the budget process. They always shout and scream and insult us, say all manner of things. And when it is difficult, they run to us. Just now, in Ikuruleni, there was a motion of no confidence against the mayor. EFF must come now. But when things are nice, now we must look at how we remove the EFF and. So, and I want to warn you that this country will have a white president. This country will have Steenhuisen as a president if the ANC is going to behave the way it's behaving. Because the motion of no confidence will come, will vote with the DA, mobilize all those who can mobilize, we vote together with the DA against the president. And then when it is time to elect a president, we abstain. And the ANC loses. We abstain. And this we told them in 2016, they never believed it. It's going to happen in South Africa now, you'll see. With this kind of attitude by the ANC, the arrogance of the ANC, even when it is being humbled, is still acting in an arrogant manner. We told them in 2016, you are going to lose metros. They thought we were playing. We went into those things. The DA nominated their people. We abstained. They finished them. When they were voting with us, the ANC, they win. But when they don't vote with us, they lose. That's where the road started. That's where the decline started. That's why the decline started. The decline started in 2016 when they lost the metros. And then the whites took the metros because of this reactionary attitudes of devil and fire. So it's going to happen. If they are not going to change their attitude, be rest assured, we are going to fold our arms where they will be needing us and they will lose. I can tell you this without any fear of contradiction. All political parties in South Africa, except the EFF, are white controlled. The same goes to MK, by the way. Yeah, they are white controlled. So, once a motion is put and the Israelis call PA, let's go this way. They call ACDP this way. They call DA this way. Holomesa this way. Bosa, Musima Imani this way. I mean, the biggest funder of Musima Imani is that woman who used to own Hilton Hotel here in Santana. I forgot the name. So, all of them, they can just be told, we are all moving this way. And you can see those Mapantiti, they don't have any principle. And they don't pretend. They tell you, now we go where we're eating. If there is no eating, we are not going. So if we realize this thing, if they realize this thing is collapsing, they are going to move to the site where there is eating. So they don't even they are not pretentious about it. So the GNU has completely failed. The GNU effectively has collapsed. To just be told that, no, we're still together, GNU is still there. If you are there, why can't you pass the budget? So the inability to pass the budget, it's a confirmation that the GNU has collapsed. They are still managing each other. But there will come a point where one of them will have to take a decision. We will not work with the DA, and we don't want to work with the DA, but the ANC must continue to push us away. We will not work with the DA, we will fold our arms where they need us the most. Because the ANC with the EFF is 49%. And then you get one, they can bring those Mapantiti of theirs, or they can bring Action SA. It's done. You have a coalition of 3 stable parties. 3. IFP's reactionary is going to go with the DA. It's just pretending now that they act bold because they are drunk with blue lights and all of that. But we know IFP is Oppenheimer owned. You guys are in the media. You have been there for quite some time. You have attended, because you are a media, you have access to the most strategic positions and all of that. You have never seen the Oppenheimers in anybody's funeral except the funeral of Mangosuthu Buthelezi. They were never there at Mandela's funeral, the icon. They were not there at Desmond Tutu's funeral. But when the president of their party died, they had to come out because now their man is gone. They gave the IFP 10 million, now 20 million, 20 million now for these elections. So you can't say the IFP is not white-owned. Even Mashaba is white-owned. The real guy there in the Action SA is that guy called the national chairperson. What is it? Blue? Michael, yes. Mike, that's the guy who's the brain, the ngondo of that thing. Malumi and doesn't know what he's doing, man. Even on the vet, I went to sit down with him. I said to him, hey, my guy, please do not support this budget. Do not believe what these people are saying. I worked with them. They are dishonest people. They will never deliver what they have promised you. He says, if we don't approve budget, then the markets are going to collapse and then the economy will crash. Yesterday, the court put aside the budget. Where are the collapsed markets? Where is the collapsed economy? The real person there is Michael. Yeah, so, and the PA told you straight, we're with Israel. Yeah, we're with Israel. And that's how they are being managed. So, if Israel doesn't resign, there's nothing we can do except to continue to put pressure. We have to put pressure on the president because we don't have confidence in the finance minister. And the president hopefully will see the reason why he needs to remove him. Or minister himself. If he had a decency, he should be resigning himself after all of this. We went first budget with the public money to go and pass the first budget. Public money used. When we arrived there, they said, there's no budget, go home. After utilizing the money, remember, that day gets called special for him. No money. No budget. Money used, we left. Went second time to do illegal activities. Even when you are told this is illegal, they went to waste public money on illegal activities. We are now going for the third time. We are using public money. For third time, we are not sure if he's going to do the right thing or not. Because he has not demonstrated in the past 2 failed budgets, that he's got the capacity to do the right thing. So we hope that they will listen to the logic especially in the Committee on Finance. It's very important that we ought to put aside our political differences and then look at what is in the best interest of our country. Minister can come with a proposal, nothing stopping him. But we should have the capacity, and we're empowered by the law, by the way, to amend that proposal of the minister. Once amended, we now reach consensus in the committee, we take it to Parliament, we pass it. The ANC still wants to rule, and that's what we told them. You still want to rule as if you still have numbers. You don't have numbers. You must accept that you don't have numbers. I even gave them a very silly example, but it's a good example which we've been told and when we're growing up, that when you are HIV positive, the first start for you to live a normal life is to accept that you are HIV positive. Then you start taking your medication, and then you live a normal life. The ANC must accept so that it can take its own medication. Their refusal to accept will lead to them not living a normal life. So we've made that very clear. I'm very disappointed with SARS, I must say. And I hold this, a commissioner of SARS in high regard. I've got a huge respect for him for one reason, that he hasn't used SARS for political maneuvering and pursuing people and yes, done SARS work where he wants his money, and he doesn't go after individuals. But for him to issue a letter or a statement saying people, those who are already adjusted to 15.5%, there's nothing wrong, will after 15 days reverse it, and then but otherwise the rest of you must pay 15%. What informed that? Because the matters were still in court and they were respondent in that court case. So we don't understand what forced him, because he knew that the minister cannot reverse a decision of Parliament. So now the minister makes an announcement that he's reversing the decision of the Parliament. SARS enters. He says, no, we're now paying 15% when Parliament has passed 15.5%. And then he comes now. Before we came here, the reason why we are late, SABC asked us to start at 12:20 because they were going to interview the commissioner of SARS. So we had to wait for them. Very important people. Of course, we had to listen to. We also wanted to hear what he was saying, or what he wanted to say. So when we are there, he says, if the people's, vet vendors have already adjusted to 15.5%, and you go into a shop and they charge you 15.5%, you must immediately ask for refund there by the counter, right? So, which means our people now must go with calculators when they go shopping. That's what he says. After buying, you must calculate how much must be brought back to you. Why? And how many of our people have got such knowledge? Because our people don't even look at those things. They just take a receipt and off they go. Our people are going to be ripped off. When he says they can take, those who have already adjusted, they can take 15.5%, and then in 15 days' time, they will refund it back. Who's going to benefit from the interest of that man? Because money, wherever it's lying, supposed to generate interest. So people are going to keep our money in their bank accounts, and then say for 15 days, I'm keeping this money, we'll release after 15 days, and then they give you your money, and then they keep the interest. So we can't allow that. And what kind of SARS is this one that, agitate for two separate vets? There must be a one of 15% and there must be a one of 15.5%. If you are not convinced that there is uncertainty in this country, just listen to what SARS is saying. Just listen to what SARS is saying. No, others can take 15.5%, others can take... SARS is supposed to say the VAT of South Africa is 15%. Anyone who's going to take more than that, it's an illegal activity. They must reverse it. They must go back to those vendors of VAT and tell them, whoever adjusted, go back to 15%. That will also be a demonstration that SARS respect the court. The court has now made a decision. Maybe they were doubting us and all of that. That's fine. The court has now made it very clear. The VAT in South Africa is 15%. Anyone who collects more than that, it's an illegal activity, must be charged with fraud. Fraud. Which law are you using to charge people 15.5%? So SARS can encourage people to engage in illegal activities. To say charge more, you'll refund it after 15 days is to encourage people to break the law. The law says 15%, and we must all respect that. We thank the parliamentarians of the EFF. They must not be discouraged. They must continue to work very hard and demonstrate to the people of South Africa that they made a terrible mistake on the 29th of May. Had they given this organization a proper mandate, they will not be where they are today. And they must know another opportunity is coming next year. If they want to make further mistakes, they must ignore the EFF. We cannot listen to those who have made it their business. People still write. I mean, there were people who were saying, yo, the EFF was found wanting on this VAT issue. I'm like, are you an illiterate or what? But because we entered at a very complex level, some could not comprehend exactly as to what is the EFF saying. We're towering above their head, and they didn't have an appreciation. So the court has simplified it for them. Now they start realizing, no man, our savior is the EFF. And South Africa should know the EFF for that. The EFF is the savior of South Africa, and will continue to save them. Whether they love us or not, we love them. Thank you very much.